Hi everyone, so welcome back to my channel Mathematic Girls 43226. In today's video, I'm going to talk on a very important topic which I have never ever talked about, that is factorial. So in today's topic, we are going to practice the questions on factorial because it's very important to practice, in mathematics. So that is what we are going to do today. And yes, I'm here after a very short span of time. I just took a very short gap and I'm back again. So yes, let's get started with the video and let me share my screen. So I hope you can see my screen. And yes, so let's get started with the topic, that is factorial. So the very first thing that I'll tell you is that how do we represent factorial? What is the symbol of factorial? So there are basically two ways to represent factorial, or there are two symbols of factorial. One is, looks like an exclamation mark, and another is just this symbol. So for example, if you want to find out 5 factorial, so you can write down 5 factorial like this, or if you want, you can write down like this as well. So both are correct. So these are the symbols. Now let us understand how do we find factorial. So for example, like I am taking any number as n, and if you want to find out the factorial of n, so n factorial you want to find out. What you have to do is simply you have to start with n minus 1, and minus 2. You have to just subtract the number and you have to reach till 3 times 2 times 1. The last number is 1. This is a simple and a very basic formula. For example, you want to find out the value of 5 factorial. What is the answer? 5 factorial answer will be 5, that is n minus 1. What is n minus 1? 5 minus 1. So 5 into 4. Then n minus 2. 5 minus 2, that is 3. And then n minus 1, of course, that is 2. And then 1. So the answer is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. And of course, you can just simplify this. So it will become 5 times 4, 20, 20 times 3, 20 times 6, 120, 120 times 1 is 1. So 120 is the answer. That is how we have to solve this. It's as simple as that. So let's start with the questions, right? There is one special case about factorial, and it is the value of 0 factorial is 1. That you should always, okay, my number is looking very weird now, but I'll just, I'll just rewrite this. So that is 0 factorial, and 0 factorial, the value is 1. Okay, always remember this. And always remember that whenever we write down the factorial, we always end at 1 only. Okay. Now there is a proof also that why 0 factorial is 1, but that proof we will understand later on. Now we can start with our questions. So these are the questions that I have brought. We have a lot of questions because of course this is a practice video. But yeah, so these are the first set of questions that we are going to solve. And I hope you will be able to see the question super soon. 1 second. So the very first question that you can see is 4 factorial, right? So we can simply find out 4 factorial by doing 4 into 4 minus 1. That is 3 only. So it's like just go till 1. So 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. And the answer is 4 times 3, 12. 12 times 2, 24. 24 times 1 is 24. So the answer is 24. It was as simple as that. Okay, so I'll just decrease the width because it's like very, very broad, I can say. So the next is 5 factorial times 5 factorial. The very first thing that we will do is, what is a into a? We all know that a into a we can write down as a raised to the power 2. Similarly, what is 5 factorial into 5 factorial? 5 factorial raised to the power 2. Now we all know that how can we solve 5 factorial? So 5 into 4, we have to just go till 1. So 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, and then square also, right? Now what is 5 into 4? 20. 20 times 3, 60. 60 times 2, 120, and 120 times 1 is 120. So 120 whole square. Now what is 120 whole square? So I know it's 12 square is 144, and then we have 2 zeros. So it's 14,400. That's the answer. Very simple. Now let's go to the next one, and that is 3 factorial times 0 factorial. Now here we can use the special thing that I have already discussed, that is 0 factorial, the value is 1. 3 factorial, of course, 3 into 2 into 1. And 0 factorial, of course, the value, we know that it is 1 only. So what is the answer? 3 times 2, 6, and 6 times 1 times 1 is 6 only. Now next we have 4 factorial upon 0 factorial. We know that whenever we see 0 in the denominator, we see that, oh, this is not defined, right? Here, it's not 0, it's 0 factorial. And we know that the value of 0 factorial is 1. So what we can do here, 4 factorial as it is, and 0 factorial, we know the value is 1, so 4 factorial upon 1. We know that any number divided by 1 is that number only. So if it is actually 4 factorial only. So what is 4 factorial? 4 times, 3 times, 2 times 1. 4 times 3, 12, 12 times 2, 24, 24 times 1 is 1. Sorry, 24. So 24 is the answer. Next we have is 6 factorial. Let's write on that. Divided by 2 factorial into 4 factorial. Now, I want to tell you here something. There are two ways to solve this. The very first thing that you can do is 6 factorial. You can write down 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. In the denominator, you have 2 factorial, you'll write down as 2 into 1. And you also have 4 factorial that you'll write down as 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. And then you will just cancel it, you'll simplify it, right? But there is a very simple way we can do this. And what we will do? 6 factorial, I'll write down as 6 into 5 into, I'll stop. I want to stop at 4. So I'll write down 4 factorial, right? So 6 into 5 into 4 factorial. And this is 2 factorial, 2 into 1 only. And this 4 factorial, I'm not, expanding and I'm writing as it is. Now I can cancel this and this. This is making our calculation little easier. Now this is 2 times 3, 6 and 3 times 5 is 15. That's the answer. You can also check if you do that way. 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 in the numerator and in the denominator 2 into 1, 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. You will get 15 only as the answer, but you have to somewhere do more of the calculation. That is why this one you can do. All right, now we can go to the next question. So this was the first set of question. And now the next question, let's do. So this is our second question, and you can see we have to simplify the following expressions. So the first question is n plus 2 factorial divided by n factorial. We need to simplify this. So I'm just writing the solution here. N plus 2 factorial, I'm writing as it is. And then this is n factorial, right? Now I'll simplify the numerator. You will understand why I'm doing that. So n plus 2, right? So of course, what is the formula? If you have n factorial, it is n into n minus 1. You have to subtract, right? Here also will do the same thing. N plus 2 as it is. Now from this, we will subtract 1. So it is actually n plus 2 minus 1, which is n plus 1 only. So n plus 2, n plus 1. Now from this n plus 1, of course, minus 1. Of course, you have to keep on subtracting. So that will become n factorial, right? N. I'll stop here and I'll put a factorial symbol and here n factorial as it is. Now this n factorial will get cancelled, and what we are getting? We are getting n plus 2 into n plus 1. If you want, you can simplify this by multiplying each of the terms. If you want, you can leave here also. I'll do, what I'll do here is I'll simplify this. So n times n plus 1, distributive property, multiplied by 2 times n plus 1. This is called distributive property. I multiplied this n with the n plus 1 and this 2 with the n plus 1, right? N into n is n squared plus n into 1 is n, right? And then, of course, we are having 2n plus 2 times 1 is 2, right? Now here what I can do, I can simplify this further. N squared into 2n will become 2n cube. N squared plus 1, n will become n squared. N plus into 2n will become 2n squared. And n into 1 is n. So what is this? It is actually 2n cube plus n squared plus 2n squared, 3n squared, and then plus n. That's the answer. Otherwise, you can, like you could have left the answer here also. I simplified it in case you wanted to know how to simplify it further. Next is, one second. Next is question number B. Okay, so yeah, let's do question number B now. And so in B, we have 2n plus 2 factorial and then 2n factorial, right? So what I'll do, I'll write down first the question 2n plus 2 and here 2n factorial, right? So 2n plus 2, if I simplify 2n plus 2 factorial, it will become 2n plus 2 and then minus 1, so 2n plus 1 and then again minus 1, so 2n and then again, I will not simplify it further. I'll stop here only and that is actually 2n factorial. Okay, I will stop here. Why? The reason I'm getting stopped here is I can see the same term I'm having in the denominator, which I can cancel. So I'm getting 2n plus 2 times 2n plus 1. Of course, again using the distributive property, we can simplify this. 2n times 2n is 4n squared. 2n times 1 is 2n. 2 times 2n is 4n. And 2 plus 1 is 2. Sorry, 2 times 1 is 2. This will become 4n squared. 2n plus 4n is 6n plus 2. That's the answer. Now let's do our last question of the second question, of course. And that is n minus 1 factorial, right? Upon n plus 1 factorial. Okay. So what I'll do here is I'll just go a little bit down. Okay, so this is our question and I'll simplify it over here. So we have n minus 1 factorial, right? So this is n minus 1, right? Factorial as it is, and here it is n plus 1 factorial. What I'll do, I'll simplify the denominator. So n plus 1 factorial will be n plus 1 into n plus 1 minus 1, that is 1 minus 1 is 0 only, so n only. N, and then from this n again minus 1, so n minus 1, and now I'll stop. Why I'll stop here? Because I can see this and this will get cancelled. So the answer is coming 1 upon n times n plus 1. And this will become 1 upon n times n is n square, n times 1 is n. So this is the answer. Now you must be wondering that how come I'm deciding that whether do I have to, expand the numerator or denominator. That I'm understanding because I know that if I'll try to expand this n minus 1 factorial, right, what it will become? It will become n minus 1 into n minus 1 minus 1, that is n minus 2, n minus 3, I will never get that n plus 1 factorial, right? So you have to just use your brain that which, factorial you should simplify so that you can have something, like some terms that you can cancel. That is the one thing that you have to remember. All right, let's move to the third set of questions. So now we can do the third set of questions. Just I want to remind you that these questions that I'm doing here, these are all basic questions because I always start from the basics because that is very important in maths. And then only we will go to the higher level questions. Here, this is the third set of questions. First is evaluate 10 factorial divided by 5 factorial and then divided by 10. Okay. The very first thing that I'm going to do is 10 factorial divided by 5 factorial and then divided by this whole divided by 10. That means this only. This is what it is saying. Now, what I'll do here, I will write down this as 10 factorial as it is upon 5 factorial. And we know that this division we can change to multiplication, and there is a rule that we have to reciprocate the next number. So it will become 1 upon 10. It's as simple as that. Now I can simplify this. So what I'll do is I will write down 10 factorial as 10 into 10 minus 1, that is 9, then 10 minus 2, that is 8. So it is like 10 into 9 into 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 factorial. I'm going to stop here. The reason being I can see 5 factorial in the denominator, right? So of course I would love to cancel 5 factorial and this 5 factorial as it is, and then here 10 as it is. This 5 factorial get cancelled, this 5 factorial got cancelled, this 10, this 10. And what we are left with? We are left with 9 times 8, 72 and 7 times 6, 42. Yes, and you simply have to multiply the 72 with 42. If you multiply, you will be getting 3024. I'm skipping the multiplication part because somewhere it will take time and you know how to multiply, right? If you're doing a factorial question, if you are in that grade and that level, so of course you should do the multiplication as well. So I'm expecting you know that, and that's why the answer is 3024. Now let's go to the second question, and that is simplify n plus 1 factorial upon n factorial. Here, imagine you are simplifying n factorial, that is in the denominator. What you will get? N into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into n minus 3. You will never get n plus 1 factorial, right? But if you do n plus 1 factorial, if you simplify that, it will become n plus 1 into n plus 1 minus 1, that is n only. And I'll stop here because I can see n factorial is in the denominator. This one got cancelled and it is n plus 1. That's the answer. So we have completed the third set of questions as well. And now we can move to the fourth set. So fourth question. Fourth question is very simple. We simply have to find out the value of 7 factorial. So it simply says find the value of 7 factorial. Very simple. It's like you cannot do anything. So you simply can do this. 7 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Now here what you can do, you can just, like smartly multiply this so that you'll get the answer very quickly. So what I can see is 7 into 6, right? 7 into 6 is 42, right? I can see 7 into 6 is 42. And then times 4 into 1 is 4, right? So we are, I'm extremely sorry. I just did not realize that I did 7 factorial, 7 into 4 into 3 into 1. It's 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. All right. Yes. So let me erase this. 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? So what I'll do here, I will simply do 7, right? 7 times 6, that is 42. I'm just trying to make my calculation simpler. That is it. 7 times 6 is 42. 42 times 6 times 5, that is 30. And then, of course, 4 times 1, that is 4, right? So what I'll do, I'll simplify this first. So what is this? 42 times 3, it is 6 and 1260 times 4. Here I'll simplify this. So it will become simply 4 and then 0 and then of course 5 and then 0. So what is the answer I'm getting? I'm getting the answer 5040, and that's the answer. All right, let's move to the next question. Okay, so this is the question. If n plus 1 factorial is equal to 5n factorial, we have to find the value of n. Okay. So what we can do here, we can simply write down the given condition, that is n plus 1 factorial is equal to 5n factorial, the very first thing that we can do. Now, n plus 1 factorial, we can solve this n plus 1 into n plus 1 minus 1, that is n only. And I'll stop here. The reason is I can see n factorial on the other side is equal to 5n factorial. Of course, this n factorial and this n factorial will get cancelled. So what we are left with? We are left with n plus 1 equals 5. Okay. 1 second. I'll just write down properly. So we are left with n plus 1 is equal to 5. Now, if n plus 1 is equal to 5, then what is the value of n? N will be 5 minus 1, and that is 4. So that's the answer. The value of n is 4. The next question, let's go to the next one, that is sixth question. So in the sixth question, what do we have to do is, we have to simplify 9 factorial into 8 factorial divided by 7 factorial into 6 factorial. Very simple, not difficult again. So what we can do here, we can simply start first 9 factorial. If you simplify this, it will become 9 into 8 into 7. I'll stop at 7. I'm hoping you are understanding the reason why, because I can see 7 factorial in the denominator. Into 8 factorial, so it will become 8 into 7 into 6. I'll stop at 6 because again I can see a 6 factorial in the denominator, right? If you want, you can do the other way around as well. You can just simplify 9 factorial till 6 factorial, and you can simplify 8 factorial till 7 factorial. Okay, both way you'll get the same answer. Now here, of course, the 7 factorial will get cancelled. The 6 factorial will get cancelled. So what we are left with? We are left with 9 times 8, that is 72, and 8 times 7, that is 56. Now if you simplify this, of course, you know how to do this. So 72 times 56, if you multiply, you will get the answer 4032. That's the answer. So this is the answer for the sixth one. Now let's move to the seventh question. Now the next question is very interesting question, that is prove that 0 factorial is 1. So I was just saying from the starting only that, that 0 factorial, that's a special formula or special number. 0 factorial, the answer is 1. But now the question is prove that. So prove that 0 factorial will be 1. How can we prove this? Very simple. So how are we going to start our proof? We are going to start our proof by writing the formula. And that is the formula of n factorial. So we know that n factorial we can write down as n into n minus 1 factorial, right? I'm just stopping at n minus 1. So we know this formula. Now what I'll do, I will put n. So I'll just check for n is equal to 1. What our, like this expression, this equation that I have written will look like. So for n is 1, that is 1 factorial is equal to 1. And this is 1 minus 1 factorial, right? What is the value of 1 factorial? Of course, the value of 1 factorial is 1 only, right? Because 1, like you cannot move further because 1 is the last number. And here it is 1 and 1 minus 1 is 0 factorial, right? Now here what I'll do, I will just write down this, I'll shift that 1 to the other side. Okay, imagine I'm shifting the 1 to the other side. So 1 divided by 1, that is 1 only and is equal to 0 factorial. And hence, proof. We wanted to prove this only, that 0 factorial is 1. We have proved it. And that's the proof. Let's move to the next question. So this is our next question. We have to solve n factorial divided by r factorial times n minus r factorial when n is 9 and r is 8, right? So n is 9, right? So this will become 9 factorial upon r is 8, so this will become 8 factorial. And this is n minus r, that is 9 minus 8 factorial. Very simple question. So 9 factorial as it is, 8 factorial as it is, and 9 minus 8 is 1, so it is 1 factorial. We all know that 1 factorial is 1 only, right? So 8 factorial into 1 is 8 factorial. Now, this is very simple. 9 factorial you can simplify. So it will become 9 into 8 factorial. Of course, I'll stop at 8 factorial. The reason being, I can see 8 factorial in the denominator. So this 8 factorial will get cancelled and the answer is just 9. Okay, this was our 8th question. Let's move to the 9th question. So we have our next question, and this is the 9th and the 10th question together. So let's do that. So the 9th question is, can a factorial be defined for the negative numbers? Of course not. The answer is no. The reason is when we had seen the formula of n factorial, the formula was n factorial is equal to n into n minus 1 into n minus 2, and the last will be 1, right? And we know that negative numbers come before 0 and we are stopping at 1 only, so how come factorial be defined for the negative numbers? So the answer is no. Next is the 10th one, very simple question, express the following in the factorial form. Okay, now it's the other way around. We were solving 5 factorial, we were writing 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Now it's the other way down, it's 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 is given and we have to write down the factorial. So the very first question is 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. We have to express this in factorial form. Of course, the answer is 6 factorial. Next, 8 into 7. Make sure that it is, like not skipping any of the numbers. If it does, you cannot write down 6 factorial. For example, if it is 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 1, it is not 6 factorial. To solve those questions, we have a very simple and a very easy way. I'll explain that as well. 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. We can see that from 8 to 1, no numbers, like they have skipped. So that is why the answer is 8 factorial. 3 into 2 into 1. So that will become 3 factorial. 9 into 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is 9 factorial. It's as simple as that. Now imagine you want to understand how to solve a question like 6 into 5 into 3 into 1. For example, this is the question given and you want to know how to convert this into a factorial. Of course, 6 into 5 into 3 into 1, we cannot write down this as 6 factorial because some numbers are missing. Which numbers are missing? For example, I'm just writing the question again. 4 is missing, right? So I'll just use a different color for 4. So I've multiplied 4, right? Now next, 3 is already there. Now one more number is missing, that is 2. 2 is also missing, I'll do that. And then into 1, that is already there, so into 1. Now, I have multiplied here something extra like 4 and 2. To compensate that, I need to do something here. I need to divide by the same number. So whatever extra I have multiplied, I'll divide. So 4 and 2, right? Now, in the numerator, you can see that it is now in the formula 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So that is actually 6 factorial. And upon 4 times 2 is 8. So the answer is 6 factorial divided by. This is how you can solve such type of questions. Let's move to the next question. So now the next question is we need to simplify all these expressions. So let us do that one by one. So let us start with the A, that is 8 factorial divided by 5 factorial. Now, like we are pro because we have already understood how to solve all these questions. So 8 factorial, I can write down as 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 factorial. Of course, I'll stop at 5 factorial and denominator, we have 5 only, right? 5 factorial. This will get cancelled. 8 times 7 times 6 is 42, 42 times 8. Now, if you simplify this, it will become 336. That is the answer. Okay, this is done. Now, let's move to the B. So in B, we have 19 factorial divided by 13 factorial, right? Again, very simple. 19 into 18 into 17 into 16 into, okay, this calculation will take time. 15 into 14 into 13, right? Factorial. Of course, I'll stop here and then divided by 13 factorial. This and this will get cancelled. Now, what we are getting here, we are getting 19 into 18 into 17 into 16 into 15 into 14. So this number, if you multiply, right, here I cannot multiply and show you the answer. Otherwise, it will take it will take a lot of time. I already have the answer for this. So 19 into 18 into 17 into 16 into 15 into 14 in 14. The answer will be 5, 8. 1 second. Let me get some space here. So 5, 8, 7, 5, 8, 6, 0, 5, 1, 2, 0, 0. This is the answer. What I can suggest you here is you don't do the multiplication when you are in in your exams or somewhere, because of course that is not worth it. You can just write down that okay, the answer is 19 into 18 into 17 into 16 till 14. That is it. Let's move to the third one, that is 21 factorial divided by 17 factorial and then 4 factorial. So what I'll do here is I will write down 21 into 20 into 19 into 18 into 17 factorial, right? Now, of course, this 17 factorial will get cancelled, right? And that 4 factorial I can write down as 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? 17 factorial will get cancelled. This 4 will get cancelled. 5, 4 times 5 is 20. This will get cancelled. 3 times 7 is 21. This will get cancelled. 2 times 9 is 18, right? So what we are getting? We are getting 7 times 5 is 35, right? 35 times 9 into 19, right? So if you simplify this, 35 times 9 times 19, you will get okay, if you want, you can multiply this. 35 times 9 is and then 315 times 19. Now, of course, you can simplify this, you know how to multiply, so I'm just leaving it here. Okay, now let's move to the fourth question, that is 9 factorial. I'm just writing it here. So the fourth question is 9 factorial divided by 7 factorial times 2 factorial. Simple. 9 into 8 into, of course, 7 factorial will stop, and then here it is 7 factorial only, and 2 factorial will become 2 into 1. 7 factorial will get cancelled, and this will become 2 times 4, 8, and the answer is 9 times 4, 36. That's the answer. Okay, now we can go to the next one, and that is question number 5, that is E. 155 factorial upon 152 factorial, right? It looks difficult, but again, now you know that it is a very simple question. So it is actually 155 into 154 into 153 into 152 factorial. Of course, I'll stop here. And then this is 152 factorial. This and this will get cancelled. So my answer, of course, I'm not going to multiply this. 155 times 154 times 153. That is it. We can just also leave here. Okay, now let's move to the sixth question, that is 93 factorial divided by 89 factorial into 4 factorial, right? So the F1 is 93 factorial, that we can write down as 93 into 92 into 91 into 90 into 89 factorial, right? And then, of course, divided by 89 factorial as it is. 4 factorial, I can write down as 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? This and this will get cancelled, right? This will become 2 times 4 is 8. And then, of course, 2 times 6 is 12. This will become 3 times 30, 90. And this will become, this will be 4 only because it will not get, divided. So the answer is coming 93. Okay, this we can simplify. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 15 is 30. And yeah, this will get also simplified. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. So what are we getting? We are getting 93 times, 23 times, 91 times 15. If you want, you can, of course, multiply this and it'll get the final answer. But I'm just going to skip this part, the multiplication part. Okay, let's go to the last question of this video. And yes. Okay, so this is the last question, as I said, for today's video. And let's solve the first one. So n factorial, right? So n factorial divided by n minus 2 factorial. Of course, what I'm going to do here is I'll simplify n factorial only because that will become n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 factorial divided by n minus 2 factorial as it is. Now this and this will get cancelled. So what are we getting? N into n minus 1, that is n into n is n squared minus n into 1 is n. That's the answer. It was very simple. Now let's do the second question. So the second question, we have n plus 2 factorial divided by n minus 1 factorial. Right? I can clearly see that I have to simplify numerator only, right? So n plus 2 minus 1, that is n plus 1. Again minus 1, that is n only. Again minus 1, that is n minus 1 factorial. I'll stop here because I can see that I'm having n minus 1 factorial in the denominator. This and this will get cancelled. So what are we getting? We are getting n into n plus 2 into n plus 1. So what I'll do is I will simplify n into n plus 1 and then with n plus 2. So what is n into n plus 1? N into n is n square. N plus n into 1 is n. So n square plus n, and then this multiplied by n plus 2. So n square into n is n cube. N square into 2 is 2n square. N into n is n square and n into 2 is 2n. So what is the final answer? We are getting n cube plus 3n squared plus 2n, and that's the answer. And that is it for today, today's video as well. I hope you understood all these solutions of factorial. This was a topic I had never ever taken. I thought of doing something different today, some different topics. So I just thought of factorial only. Again, all the basic questions I took in this particular video because I wanted to just confirm whether you are very much comfortable with the factorial topic or not. If you want, you can make like I can make the difficult, the complex questions of factorial as well. Do let me know in the comment section. And yes, your videos are also on the way, the requested videos. I will be uploading those videos super soon. Thank you so much for watching my channel, watching my videos. Thank you for your support. Once again, I'll just remind you that if you're new to my channel and you have not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much.